Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Shafa'a, preemption in the Hanbali school. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu salam ala Rasul Kareem. ربنا تقبل منا زدنا علما وحكمة وهدى اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا اللهم ارحم شيوخنا اللهم آتنا نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها وليها مولاها اللهم شكرنا أما بعد. All the praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Continuing on the fiqh al-Hanbaliya, the Hanbali school. This is also in the other schools also, they have the same issues here. And the chapter we're on is on shafa'a, or the preemption. And this is an obscure term, but then he would try to explain it, inshallah, what that is. And this is, and all praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Would you like to read number 1 or number 0? No way. See 0 on there.
It is the rights of a person to preempt, pay for, and seize a portion of his partner's share from the land of the buying.
Okay, so read in the parentheses.
A, B, and C. A and B are partners of something. A sells a share to C, and B to reimburse the paid amount to C and take ownership of that share.
Yes, so that's referred to preemption. So two people are partners in some property, and what happens is one of them, they sell the property to somebody else, but his partner, he has more of a right to buy that property first before the other person takes it. So this is when they go to the judge, when they go to the judge, and the judge, he looks at that. So that's what in the Hanbali school. And some of the other schools, they say like the neighbor too, he has a right to buy the property first. So if a person, they're selling it to somebody, the neighbor has first rights to purchase the property for somebody else, so he can preempt it and then take the property. That's if it's not too long after, That's like when the sale is taking place. That's what. There's a lot of rules on it, so that's what go through to it. No, because what happens on this issue here, a person already sold the property to somebody else, and then he's just getting his money back, and the sale is canceled, and it's going back to the other partner first. That's what it's about. That's why there's a lot of rules. There are a lot of conditions for it to take place. Okay, to read, it says over here that it's not allowed except under 7 conditions. 7 conditions. Do you understand the, Sheikh Omar, do you understand the concept of it? 2 people are partners in a property. One of them sells it to somebody, then the other partner, in Islam, he has more right to that property, to buy that property, than the other person. So they can go to the judge in the Islamic court and tell the judge that I have more right to this property, so let me get this property and we'll give the money. Whatever the person put into it will give it back to the other person. That's what preemption is. Okay, now we understand it? Okay, inshallah. Okay, let's go through the conditions and read the first one, Sheikh Omar. Number 1.
Force of the sale was not an obligation.
Yes. Like, for example, these are examples here. In a
gift, nor an endowment, nor a contingency condition for annulment of a marriage, nor a dowry.
Yes, okay, inshallah. So these things are problematic if somebody, they gave that property, say that he had a property, and it was as a gift. It was the sale was the first one. The condition is that the sale has not to be an obligation, something that's there. So, if the thing is, they gave somebody as a gift, then it's not appropriate to take it back. That's why the Sheikh, he mentions that in the gift. And then as an endowment, endowments are not to be resold again, so that's why it's problematic. Nor in the annulment of a marriage. Let's say a woman, she has a portion of a property, a share in a property, and she says, I want the khulu, I want the annulment of the marriage, and the judge says that to get annulment, you have to give this property to the person, and she does so, then it can't be, you can't do the shifa on it. And the last thing is a dowry. If a person, they gave somebody the property as a dowry for marriage, and they did the marriage, then then you can't, the other person can't then take this back to him. So that's the first condition that he says. Okay, these things here are a little bit complicated to understand, but that's what he says. Those are the conditions for it, for a person to get the preemption on it, the partner to get the other part of the property, because the sale was already done. So get it back, it's like giving it back to the seller, you know. So that's problematic there too. That's why he mentioned these things here. Okay, to read the second condition, Noe.
That is not allowed except
No, number two.
second, it must be real estate property
Mm-hmm.
or what is connected to it, the property of built structures, growth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it refers to a real estate property, like if somebody they have a plot of land or a house, then usually what's connected to the house, you have a garage that's connected to it, so that's part of it, or you have a lawn, or you have a yard and things like that. So it refers to that. So let's say there's two partners to that, and then it has to be on one of these things. It's not on other things. It's not like a person that can be a partner in a car. How are you going to get a part of a car, right? So that's the issue for it. So there's partners in property and land. That's what that refers to. Okay, is that clear on that, on the second one? Okay, inshallah. Okay, Sheikh Omar, you read number 3.
Third, it must be a shared property, not yet divided.
Mm-hmm. You read, and keep on 3B.
As for what was already divided with set border,
Mm-hmm.
there is not preemption in it.
Yes.
According to the statement of Jabari,
Mm-hmm.
the messenger of Allah, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, ruled that preemption is permissible in everything that has not been yet divided. So if the boundaries are drawn and the roads are constructed, there is no preemption.
Okay. Okay, let's say that a person, they're a partner with somebody with a big area of land, maybe like several acres of land. Then during that time, what happens afterwards, put a fence on it. This is yours, this is mine. Right? Then the other person, he sells his part, but that's it. There's no preemption on it because you're not really partners on it. That's his part, that's your part, so he's just selling his part. That's the point here that the Sheikh said it's already divided. And that's what Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. They said if the boundaries are already there and the roads are there, then there's not, you can't do the preemption on it. That's the point there. Okay. All right, inshallah. Let's go to number 4. Nawi.
Fourth, it has to be something that could be divided. What cannot be divided, there is no preemption.
Yes, so the land, if it's something that can't be separated, then you can't do the preemption on it. That's the point on there. Like for example, let's say, I think somebody, they give an example like an outhouse, like a toilet, right? A toilet. So how can you divide the toilet into 2 parts? Somebody owns half a toilet, the other person owns half a toilet. So he says that's the point. You can't do the preemption on that. Okay, all right. Let's go to number 5, Sheikh Omar.
If the person takes all of it,
Mm-hmm.
if he requests part of it, his preemption is dropped.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's stop over here. So what happens when the person has a preemption? Let's say the other partner, he sold his share of the property. Then a person comes, I only want to buy a quarter of it. You can't do that. You got to take all of it when you do the preemption. You can't just take part of it that you sort of get back part of it. It's got to be the whole thing. Okay, you can read the next one, 5B.
If there are 2 preemptors, the preemption between them is according to the proportion of their shares.
Yes. So what happens is if there's like 3 partners or so, and then one of them sells it, and you have 2 other ones, and they want to preempt it and get it back, then the proportion of their shares, that's how much they acquire it, the back from it. That's what the point is. Okay, now we read number 5C.
If one of the 2 abandons his preemption, the other has no choice but to take all of it will be.
Yes, that's when you have 2 or more preemptors. So then what happens is if one of them say, I don't want to take it, then the other person, he has to either take all of it or part of it. Because originally they were going to share it, right? When they were going to preempt it and pay the money for it. Now the other person says, oh no, I don't want anything to do with this now. So now this person, he's got to take all of it or just leave it. That's the point there. Okay, let's go to number 6, Sheikh Omar.
price.
Mm-hmm.
If he is unable to pay it
Mm-hmm.
or part of it, the preemption is granted.
Yes.
Continue.
Yep. Go on.
If the price is the same, then he must pay it.
Mm-hmm.
If it is not the same, he pays the value of
Yes.
it.
Yes. Okay.
If they differ on the extent of it and there is no evidence between them, the word of the buyer is taken with an oath.
Yes. Okay, Chola. So let's say what happens, you have A and B, right? They're partners. The A sells his property to C. The B says, okay, I want this property. I'm your partner, so I have the right to this property. So he goes to a court. I say, okay, you can take it. You got to pay for it. Say, oh, I don't have the money. Then it doesn't take place. The person keeps it then in that case. You have to have the funds for it to pay for it. That's the point over here. Okay? If he's unable to pay for it, that's it. The sale continues through. He can't preempt on the property. And then what happens is sometimes maybe originally what they paid for it, it might be different than what the person sold it. They sold. Then what happens in that case if the price is different, then he must pay it the same price. If it's not the same, then he pays the value of it, the value of the place that's there. Because maybe the other person might have sold it for less or more, or something like that. Then he pays the value. And then if they differ to the extent of it, how much do you got to pay for it? And there's no evidence, there's no proof of it, then the word of the buyer is taken. I paid this much for it. Then the person, they get that much. This here, it goes to the judge, so that's why he's mentioning these points here. Okay, number 7, Noe?
Requesting it immediately the hour he knows.
Yes. Give me the next one.
If he delays the preemption is void.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the point is, if somebody had sold his share of the property, and somebody comes 10 years later, that's like too late. So you got to come immediately, not delay it. That's the point. Because the other person that bought it, he might have done stuff on it and things like that. So it's like too late. The person, they should have done it immediately. This is like when the sale is taking place. And the sheikh over here, he mentions the hour. So that's how quick a person they have to do the preemption. Not to wait until it's already sold and then the person is doing a lot of stuff and things like that, and you delayed it too long. So that's the point, not to delay it. Okay, do you read number 7b, Sheikh Omar?
Except if he was unable because he was absent or imprisoned or sick or young.
Yes, so this here that you're talking about, the judge, he'll look at it. If a person, they couldn't preempt it because he wasn't around, he was absent, he was in another country, he didn't know about it, what happened. Or if he was in prison, then he couldn't do anything about it. Or what's the other thing? If he was sick, he was unaware of what's going on. And, situations like that. Also too young, didn't know about it. Then when he became older, then he realized it. So then there's an exception to the rule that he could do it afterwards, because he wasn't able to, he wasn't cognizant, he wasn't aware that the sale was going on until much later. So it has to be done immediately, not delayed, but the judge got to look in that situation. That's what the Sheikh, he said, Sheikh Ibn Qudama, he mentions those exceptions. Okay, read number 7. 7C is part of 7B. Then he can do the preemption when he's able to, after that, if he's in those situations. And, 7D, want to read that, Noe?
Except if he was able to witness to the request for it, and he did not witness it, his preemption is invalidated.
Right, so at that point, if he knew that the sale was going on and he didn't do anything at that point, he said, okay, go ahead. Then later on, he changed his mind and said, I want to preempt it. Then he did it too late. That's not accepted as an excuse. Okay, Charlotte, read number 8, Sheikh Omar.
If he does not know until 3 or more have sold each to the next, he demands it from whomever he wants from them. If he takes from the first, then the first gives back to the second what he took from him, and the second to the third.
Yes. So this is after the fact, because that's why you got to do it immediately so those things don't happen. But if the person had that excuse before, where it was in prison or it was in another land and things like that, then let's say the person sold it to person B, sold it to C. Okay, and then C sold it to D. Then what happens? The person comes back and goes to the judge. I want this back. So then what happens is if he goes to person C, the one that does it, he doesn't have it any longer. He sold it to D. So then what he can do, he said, okay, I'll give you the money. Then he takes the money, then gets it back from D and gives the money back to D. So it goes to that order. And then each person that you have, if it was like 3 people, 4 people, so on, then each person they have to give back to the previous person. That's the point there. And a judge has to look into that situation. That's why it was a previous point that it's got to be done immediately. The person, they might sell somebody, they part to it, and that person might sell it to another person, and then it becomes problematic. Okay, Chala, let's read number 9. Noe.
When he takes it, and then it is growth or construction of the buyer, the preemption gets him the value.
Yes. So let's say a person, the other partner sold something to somebody, and then he built something on it, or he did something else, and the preemptor goes there, takes this back, then he's got to reimburse him for the things that he built on it, because it wasn't the same as the original one. Is that clear on that, Noe? Okay, Chala. All right, Sheikh Omar, number 10.
Except if the buyer uproots the tree without causing harm.
Yes. So sometimes a person, they might have some land, and the partner sells the land to somebody, and the person grows his tree. Then what happens is that's a growth on it. The tree is on there, so he's got to reimburse the preemptor. But he can also uproot his tree and take it with him. Then there's no difference than it was originally. So he doesn't have to. That's why he's saying that's an exception on it. And that's what people they used to do. Even when I was there, one time I went to Morocco, somebody had a palm tree and they were digging it up and bringing it from one place to another. So sometimes people they do that. Back in the old days, if you had trees, they would dig up the tree and move it from one location to another location. That's what they would do. So that's what he's talking about. And this was back in the 700 years after Hijrah. Right now we're about 1450 years. So this was 750 years ago. That's what they used to do. Even nowadays they do it in many places in the world. But do they do that in Somalia, Sheikh Omar? They dig up trees. If somebody grew a tree, then then he wants to bring it to a different property, digs it up, and then brings it to a different place. They do that sometimes. Okay, inshallah. All right, inshallah. Let's go to number 11. You read it.
If there is a crop of fruit that is not ripened, it belongs to the buyer and uses some harvest or time.
Yes. So what happens is if the buyer, he planted his plants on it, or crops and things like that, then the preemptor comes. So that belongs to the buyer. He did all the stuff on it. So he takes that first, then it goes to the other partner. Okay, read number 12.
If one bought along with a soul in one contract, the preemptor takes partially.
Yes. Okay, back then the swords were very valuable. It's more valuable than land. So what happens is the partner, let's say that he sold he sold a sword along with the land to the person. And then what happens is when the person preempts it, then he takes the value of the portion that he paid, and the portion for the sword stays with the other person. That's the point there. Okay, inshallah, let's stop over here. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayk. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Allah knows best. Thank you, brother.